everybody.
Hi, friends. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
Where we, a couple of ding-dong atheists, try to get out there and make some sense of religion and politics and the current events of these United States of America.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on the show today, we're going to be talking about this awful phenomenon in the United States of young men finding religion.
Oh, I thought you were just going to say the awful phenomenon of young men in the United States.
It's both are related. It's a related conversation, Dan.
And they are problems. No matter how you swing it. There are.
The boys are not all right.
The boys are not all right, you guys. And the problem, and they're finding all the wrong homes to come home to. So
we'll be talking about that on the second half of the show. Coming up, there are things that happened this week, some news,
various and sundry news items.
Things that
why don't you talk about an item?
Well, that's where I was headed down.
I know. I'm inviting you to head there.
You're inviting me to do the thing. Never mind. Okay. It's going to sound like we're fighting, and that's going to upset the children. And so I don't want that.
Kids, mom and dad pretend to fight sometimes and don't always know how to keep it funny.
I felt it crossing the line. That's why I was like, okay, I'm moving on. All right. Well, this is a story. For the life of me, I don't think we covered this when the initial thing happened, which was back in 2023. Oh, in October. Yeah. Where a school teacher down in Arizona dressed up as the devil for the school's Halloween Spirit Week, which I guess they do Halloween for the whole week. It's one of those things. Feels
you
like
would hate that.
A little bit of
I'd be into it.
A little bit of waste of time and energy, but why can't we just have Halloween? Right? Do we need 5 different costumes? Right?
I know plenty of people who hate Halloween altogether. Mm-hmm. I love Halloween, so that I'm all about it. But
yeah,
sure.
Anyway, this guy Jesse Ruiz came as the devil, and here's actually a still. It looks like from maybe a video or maybe just a bad photograph that a kid snapped of him sort of walking around in the classroom with a pitchfork and wearing like a red polo. Like, he didn't have like creepy, scary makeup. I don't even see like horns. He just red shirt and a pitchfork. And I guess he was like, kind of getting the pitchfork kind of poking it at kids as they were walking in the room and stuff. Okay. And he said, "Hail Satan," a few times during class, which was
that's your problem.
Ill-advised.
That's the moment right there.
But one of the kids, an uptight child by the name of Nathaniel Hamlet.
Oh my God.
Hamlet. Sorry. Nathaniel.
His name was Nathaniel. Of course that's a problem. We're going to have a problem with Nathaniel.
Well, anyway, he did not appreciate it. He said, "I got a pitchfork put in my face." He did it to everyone. He did it to people he didn't even know well. And he said, it just irked me and just didn't feel right because I believe in God, obviously, but I don't know. It just ticked me off. He said,
one doesn't want to irk Nathaniel.
No, and
don't irk Nathaniel.
Here's the problem, though, with irking Nathaniel in this way is that Nathaniel's dad, Chris, had previously unsuccessfully run for the school board.
Oh God!
So somebody who might seize upon an opportunity to create a little bit of publicity for himself, right? Over an issue, took that opportunity, and went a little fucking nuts, and played the whole Christian snowflake character very well.
Yeah.
And so then So up till now in the story, I am like team Jesse Ruiz. I'm like, this poor teacher.
Team Devil, Team Satan.
Yeah, he crossed a little line there, and maybe somebody needed to just sit him down and be like, listen, like, no problem showing up as the devil. Just hail Satan went just a step too far. But
you have to be cartoon devil.
Yeah.
You can't actually, you can't be religion devil.
Right. Exactly.
You got to be cartoon devil.
Exactly. And so like up to this point, I'm on his side. Well, because of all of this hay that had been made about him and this moment, the state board of education opened an investigation into him and found some inappropriate messages in some students' yearbooks from the year prior when he was at a different high school. And the comments are bad. The comments, there's no defending.
You might have to give me an example.
Do you want a couple?
Yeah.
Let's see. So it says, thanks for all the free canes. I think he means like the chicken, right? Thanks for all the free canes. He, gay sex, ... LOL. Okay.
Well, okay. So we clearly have inside jokes.
That's an inside joke, but
yikes.
Definitely on its surface, not something, and that should be what a teacher, in my opinion, somebody who works with kids should always be thinking about. How could this also be seen?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, this is a guy, clearly all of this, like just the devil thing made it clear. This guy doesn't know where the boundaries are.
Yeah.
And no teacher, like one of the main jobs of any school teacher, especially in this country, is to know the boundaries.
Yeah. Another comment. I'm going to miss the F ... out of you. Okay. That's, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then there was also some comments in a female student's yearbook that included, you should have run away from home or we would have kidnapped you. Okay. Again, there's something inside there, but
still, if a parent sees that, what are they to make of it?
You should have run away from home? Or we should have kidnapped you. I mean, what is this? What is the backstory? Right.
Yeah.
And then I think about every day, and especially when I found a new ... or some new eye candy, winky smiley on Instagram.
Ew.
Yeah.
First of all, ew to how he's using ...
Yeah.
Like these ellipses are improperly used, sir. But also just
so anyway, this was enough for him to be suspended for 2 years and ordered to take some classes,
all the classes
in order to be reinstituted.
Please take all of the classes, sir. You are not okay.
But
something is not right.
Yeah, just that, like, not knowing where borders are, right? Boundaries. And it's really, really too bad because I so wanted to be on the side of righteous indignation of like, you fucking Christian snowflakes.
Because this should have been a conversation between you and I of why is Nathaniel out of homeschool? But instead, it ended up being...
Yeah. This teacher, he ruined it for us.
He broke the whole gag.
That's his real crime here. Dan.
Yeah.
Is he
right?
He ruined our fodder.
Yes. Yeah. Your dumb inappropriateness and obvious probable pedophilia with children has broken a couple of jokes that were hanging out there
that were really good.
We were going to shit on Nathaniel like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, that little punk.
I had so much Nathaniel material locked and loaded, and then we had to go down this fucking rabbit hole. Are you kidding me? Fine.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Ruiz.
Oh man. Well, okay. Let's continue down the path of disappointment.
Oh no.
Where we will find one Governor Spencer Cox of our fair state of Utah,
What a disappointment.
who has become like one of the real, like, genuine disappointments of our age.
Yeah.
Because there were so many signs, not just signs, but like real moments of hope.
Yeah.
With this guy.
Yeah.
He's a Republican,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't get to be governor of Utah if you're not Republican, at least for now.
Mm-hmm.
But back in, the halcyon days of 2020, 2022 and earlier,
Mm-hmm.
every now and then something would happen, like the shooting at the nightclub, at the gay club in Florida.
Mm.
And he would come out with this beautiful letter that says something about, like, we need to love each other. And, this is a tragic moment when a bunch of other, when what we were hearing from the Republican side was crickets. He came out and said something, and it was correct, and it was beautiful. And then in 2022, he vetoed a bill to keep the bill was designed to keep trans kids from participating in school sports.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
And he said basically, the research shows that even a little, I'll just quote him. He said, all the research shows that even a little acceptance and connection can reduce suicidality significantly, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he said, we're just going to let the kids play the sports because their lives matter more than who wins, who loses, who comes in first, who comes in fifth, whatever.
Yeah.
So, like, we thought we might have a gem here.
Yeah.
Someone might have snuck in who actually cares about the right things in some contexts.
Right.
And then sometime between then and now, he fucking took the red pill and, like, went all in Trump side of things and has become a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
However, in that intervening time, one of the things that he did was ordered a study done on trans youth. Just so that it could guide legislation and stuff. And he had that study done by some University of Utah scientists who did a comprehensive report.
Okay.
We're talking like 1,000 pages of a report on what we know about trans kids, what we know about what the health benefits versus risks are of various therapies, all of that sort of stuff. I don't think the Republicans knew what was coming back when they sent this out, because it's bad news all around for them. Because this is, and this is in stark contrast to another report that was done sort of by some ding-dongs, I think in a national report, but it was badly done and it was very cursory. And this is an in-depth report that really digs into the science. And it basically concludes across the board that the current treatments that are used for trans teens, including things like, the gender-affirming treatments. And we're not talking about like surgical stuff, but we are talking about hormone blockers and that sort of, just sort of and therapy and all of these things.
Yeah.
They're good. They make the kids are happier. They are physically healthy. There is no evidence of like any sort of changes to bone density or cardiovascular risk or metabolic changes, cancer, none of that. This treatment, this report came out, and basically it is just crystal clear that the way you treat a trans kid, a kid who, you know, in the medical lingo suffers from gender dysphoria, is you fucking do the treatment.
Yeah.
It's just easy. It's literally simple. We know how to treat it. We know what to do.
Right. And or but.
Well, no. Now the Utah legislature and the governor, who is now fully on board with like, no, keep the trans kids out. Blah 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 blah. Now they just have to stare down this study that they commissioned, and be like, no, I don't think.
Right.
Which they will do. They will happily just deny it.
They'll just defund this professor.
Right?
Like, wrong answer.
Yeah.
There goes your funding. Bye bye.
They'll hire the cyber ninjas to redo the study.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's pretty remarkable. I mean, what did they really think that they were going to get a different result from, the prevailing medical wisdom and like this, these treatments didn't just come out of thin air, right? Like there's been a process for arriving at this being the standard of care, right?
You can't tell that to people on the right who are convinced that wokeness is a literal virus, a mind virus, and that it is a disease, and that it is a psychological disorder, and that anything that a woke person says couldn't possibly be backed by real science. Like, they literally believe that. I've seen people make that exact claim.
Well, I mean, that's what they get then when they hire a woke college professor to do a study, right?
By woke college professor, do you mean the Drug Regimen Review Center at the University of Utah's Medical School?
Shush, Dan. How dare you?
The other thing is that, like, I think like Spencer Cox, the old Spencer Cox with a heart, is the one who ordered this. This thing.
Yeah.
And then and now new Spencer Cox without a heart has to, has to deal with the fact that it happened.
It's pretty great though, like, because the Spencer Cox who has a heart is still there. He's just making a political performance, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is good. I think putting him in a position where he is being shown, because he's not a dumb guy, right? Like he sees this report and he probably is like, it's like, damn it. Right? Like, now there's even more evidence that I'm a shitbag, that I'm being a shitbag, right? Like, he is so clearly just doing a performance for the conservatives in this state to hold on to power.
Yeah.
That's all he's doing, right? And so good.
It's as naked as it could be,
creating even further moral dilemma for him.
Yeah. The cognitive dissonance just went to 11.
Excellent. I hope his stomach is in fucking knots.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
Over what he's become and whatnot. But
the report that they released is so unambiguous. They literally, like, one of the things it says is, the conventional wisdom among non-experts has long been that there are limited data. It says, however, results from our exhaustive literature searches have led us to the opposite conclusion.
That's there just for Spencer Cox and his ilk.
Right. That is they're literally just
saying you're fucking wrong.
They're beating like this is usually an academic study like this. They tend to be pretty spare in their like they just put the data out there. That is a fucking club to the head.
Yeah.
Which these people need clubbing, so that's good.
Like a baby seal. Oh shoot! Too soon. Too soon.
Yeah, that hasn't been an in the public view issue since the 80s, but sure, go for it. 90% of our audience didn't understand why you said that, but go for it.
All right. Oh God. Well, if this will bring the tone down, Dan.
Oh, thank God. The tone was so high.
Pakistan. Pakistan. That's all I need to say. That'll ruin the mood. Yeah. So Pakistan actually, their national government this last week, so Parliament just passed the Child Marriage Restraint Bill, which is designed to end minors being forced into marriages.
Oh, thank God, because you never know with Pakistan. That could be a bill designed to like restrain children into marriage or something.
It could have been. Let's see. It is set to be signed by the president, who it sounds like is going to sign it. No problem. So any adults found to be cohabiting with minors will now be punished up to 7 years in prison and a fine of 1 million rupees. I'll let you guess as to like how much money that actually is.
I mean, probably a lot.
It's in the thousands of dollars.
But I'm just saying, like, yeah, I'm guessing the average Pakistani person doesn't have
doesn't have $3,500 just sitting around. Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then we have to sort of get a little bit into the weeds of Pakistan's odd federal system. This does not mean that it's actually a national law, even though the nation's parliament passed the law. It doesn't mean that it actually applies to anywhere outside of the capital. Because on a lot of issues, they don't have authority outside of the capital. And so, but they're hoping that this will be an example for other provinces to introduce similar laws in the near future.
That would be good.
Clearly is going to happen.
How are they defining a minor?
Anyone under 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
we could use that in this country.
No kidding, right? A little thorn in the side here. The Council of Islamic Ideology, which is it's not, they can't make like binding like rulings about legislation, but they chime in, and it's an official thing. They are,
and they probably have quite a lot of sway.
They have a lot of sway, right? Especially with those more, conservative provinces and whatnot.
Sure.
But anyway, they chimed in, and they said,
I'm going to guess that they fall on the good side of this issue. I'm going to guess that
they've decided to oppose the bill.
Shocking.
Their mandate is to advise the government to advise the government whether or not a certain law is repugnant to Islam.
Okay.
Their words there, repugnant to Islam.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so they said in their statement about this, declaring marriage below the age of 18 as child abuse and prescribing punishments for it and other controversial provisions are not in line with Islamic injunctions. Overall, the council rejects the bill. And then they also put this little fun. It also clarified that this bill was not sent to the council for review.
I wonder why.
Marriage should be protected from unnecessary legal complications, they also said. But here's some of the shocking numbers about Pakistan and why a law like this is actually really needed.
Something tells me I'm not going to be shocked, but okay.
Yeah, so Pakistan ranks among the top 10 countries with the highest absolute number of women who were married before the age of 18. More than 20 million women in Pakistan were married before the age of 18. Data compiled by activist group Girls Not Brides and Pakistan's National Institute of Population Studies suggests that nearly 1 in 5 women in Pakistan are married before the age of 18, and 4% before the age of 15. And so that's what's going on in Pakistan.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Muslim Council has a problem, and that is that, like, they have to be okay with everything that Muhammad did.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. Thank you, Dan.
Muhammad had a child bride. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
That has to be okay for them.
Yeah. And that puts them in a really tough spot to be to join modernity.
Yeah.
Right? When you have to be okay with everything that Muhammad did.
Yeah.
Because what Muhammad wasn't like a good guy, right?
I don't know.
Like
I never met him. I think he made some choices that we now know are not good, healthy choices.
Yeah.
Like starting a religion.
I don't know. I think pooing in like with your specific directions of the compass, like everything points to the
I can't go into that bathroom. I'm an East pooper.
Basically, like he had some ideas that suggest that he may not have been fully stable mentally. Or maybe he was just OCD, which is fine too. But you know, he made some choices that were not
is
great.
Take someone's someone's brain pathology and then like lock it into a permanent way of doing a religion.
Yeah.
That's what you don't do.
Well, and also like you can't like base every moral decision on what one person did or didn't do, right?
Right.
Like people are flawed, right? And just like maybe he was a good guy in other ways. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
But in this way, you should not be emulating him, right? I mean,
oh boy,
just should not.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Islam.
I mean, look, we are, what was he in the 700s or something? We're well over 1,000 years removed from him. We're 2,000 years removed from Jesus.
Yeah.
Things happen in the course of time.
Yeah.
We learn new things.
Yeah.
If we have to be locked into what ancient people said about how the world worked, knowing so little about how the world worked, we can't grow. So stop locking us in.
Yeah. No kidding.
You need to change. Look, you can believe a lot of the same shit, but you need to let go of how they said it was correct forever.
Yeah.
Because it's never going to work.
Yeah.
Ever.
Agreed.
Okay.
Thank you, Dan.
Yes.
That had to be said.
Thank you. Both of us. Thank us for saying what needed to be said. Finally. All right. I'm going to take us now to the state of Georgia, which I was just in. I was just visiting in lovely Atlanta, Georgia. And it was already too hot. So
Indeed, I'm sure.
Although Texas was crazy. What are they doing down there? Having a global warming? I thought we weren't doing that. Anyway, this time we're going to talk about Fannin County High School, which in Georgia was putting on, and I cannot emphasize enough how very, very unremarkable this is. A high school was putting on a production of the play The Crucible. Now, that is about as high school a thing as could possibly high school.
Yeah, indeed.
Arthur Miller's play, I don't personally love it because so much of it is just girls screaming for long periods of time, but and especially a high school version of it.
Right.
But this was a play that was written about the Salem witch trials, famous Salem witch trials. It was written as an allegory for McCarthyism,
right,
which was a thing of the time that Arthur Miller wrote it. And it was, and it is a good play. It is, and it's an important play, and it's one that kids should be exposed to. But of course, it's about it's about accusations of witchcraft. I liked the meme that I saw a while back that said, "No witches were put on trial at Salem. Women were put on trial at Salem for being witches. They were not witches."
Right.
Because that's what happened. It was a hysteria moment, not unlike the moment that we're in right now. And yeah, a bunch of women were brutally assassinated as a result of
the Salem women's trial.
The Salem women accused of witchery trial. Anyway, this production was shut down.
Oh no.
After a single performance, it was ended.
Too much witchy?
Well, here's the thing. The school board or the school something bigger that what's right above the school level. It's not the principal, but it was like the
superintendent.
Somebody, they shut it down.
Okay.
And when they shut it down, what they claimed was that this production had added to the play, and that ran afoul of the license that they were granted. For those of you who don't know how plays work, people hold, there are companies that hold the licensing of every play, and you have to pay to use the play, or at least get a license to use a play. Yeah. Sometimes they'll let schools do something for free or whatever. But you have to sign paperwork, and there are rules. And one of the rules is you can't change it. You can't just willy-nilly change a play.
Right.
Unless it's in the public domain, and then you can do
or there are
you want.
Notes in the play that say
right. Or you can write
this. Yeah.
You can write to the licensing organization and say, "Hey, we really would like to make this change. We would like to cast this character as a woman. They're normally a man or whatever." And sometimes they will grant a permission to do it this one time.
You can't change the gender of a character?
Well,
just by casting, because that has to
wait.
That has to happen all the time, Dan.
Listen, you can cast a person who is not the gender of the character.
You can't change the gender,
but you can't change the gender of the character,
right? Okay,
without permission,
right?
And that's a distinction that is meaningful.
Yeah. Okay.
Now here's the thing: what this production did that was different from the script is that they opened the show with a scene that is referenced many times in the script of girls dancing in the forest. Okay. And that's kind of the inciting incident that's referenced, like we saw this thing and it gets blown out of proportion, and then they start to say, "Oh, that's the witchcraft," and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
But it's not in the script. But they didn't add any lines. They just showed this thing happening. That is pretty permissible. That is very regularly done.
Okay.
They're not changing anything about the play. They're just sort of doing it's a
different
bit of
staging.
It's a bit of pantomime, you know what I mean? And that's absolutely okay. Which is how we know that the reason the reason given for the shutting down of this production was not the reason that this production was shut down. And the reason that this production was actually shut down, and we know this from other sources, is that some of the parents got the ick from the mention of witches, and they just felt like it was a little too witchy, and it was a little Satan-y, a little bit evil, a little bit Satan-y. And here's the funny thing about that: there's no fucking witchcraft in this play.
Right.
There's just accusations of it, and there's some girls dancing. Which is probably why they hate TikTok, because they think that that's probably witchcraft too, or whatever.
Or it's just girls dancing. Girls expressing themselves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just that is disturbing enough for them. Where's the man telling them what they can and can't do?
Don't worry, we're getting to that later in the show.
Yeah. I mean,
just not even, this is like the worst, like, it's not satanic panic, but in that vein of just like, this is the worst example possible. There's nothing there. There's nothing 100%.
Not unlike, and believe me, this has not missed anybody. This is a very obvious thing. The play that they canceled is about accusing a small group of kids of things that they very clearly didn't do and going into a bit of hysteria about it.
Right.
Hello. Who are you really? What are you upset? Are you just upset that you thought you were being portrayed in the production as the bad guy? Is that what you thought? What is happening?
Oh, it's just a bit of performance theater, Dan. These are, these are highly committed performance artists.
The drama teacher had gone to the school superintendent and been like, I need you to be a part of this thing. I want to do something big. We're doing something
huge. National headlines. It's going to be amazing. The world is our stage.
We'll tell them all about it afterwards.
No, I'm going to go on Jimmy Kimmel and talk about it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing, Dan.
Honestly, if you pitched that to a bunch of high schoolers, high school drama kids would be so fucking into that. You're going to go on the news.
But you have to play it straight.
Yes, this will be your biggest role ever. And that is kid whose play has been canceled.
It'll be my greatest triumph.
Religious cancel culture.
Amazing. All right. Well, speaking of Christians and not really understanding what's really going on.
Anything of value.
Yeah. I have the story about a teacher in the UK who, and this is another one of these stories that goes back a few years in order to give you the what's happening now part. So the teacher, who by court order cannot be named and is only referred to as A.
That's a great start.
And the child, who also by court order cannot be named, is just known as Child X. So we have teacher.
Can I change my name to
Child
he
X.
who by court order must not be named?
Right. So back in the summer of 2021, teacher A was informed that a child who had been born female, but who was now going by male gender or male pronouns. Sorry, that's just escaping me. And is trans. That this child would be joining her class, and they were just sort of letting her know that that was the situation, and that the male name and pronouns were to be used at the parent's request, right? And the teacher, this was not good enough for this good Christian teacher. She raised concerns with the head teacher, and writing to the head teacher saying, I am concerned that I am required to give affirmative care to somebody who may regret it later. I am convinced that blanket affirmative care would be very damaging, potentially leading to irreversible physical and mental harm. The head teacher told A in a letter, you are entitled to hold your own personal beliefs, and we fully support you in your right to hold those beliefs. However, as those beliefs, if acted on, could be an act of direct discrimination, you must not act on them.
Right. You are entitled to hold your own beliefs, but you must put them in your back pocket and never, ever bring them out.
The child was moved to another class the same year in order to protect him from any potential harm, the school said.
Because I mean, it's funny that they move the kid instead of removing the teacher, but okay.
Sure. But let's see. The teacher was instructed to still make sure that she was using the correct name and pronouns.
And pronouns, right.
And so the teacher escalated her concern.
Which is, one must admit, incredibly difficult to do.
It's so hard.
Saying specific name and pronouns.
Oh,
how could one even pull that off?
Also, here is someone who's never known this child as anything but a boy.
Right. If they had said nothing, everything would have been fine.
Right. Like, this is not, I have to wrap my head around, little Susie now being little Bobby. Right. Okay. This is going to take a minute. I can do it. Right.
Yeah. You didn't even have to do that.
You didn't have to do that. You were just being alerted that a boy was coming into your class and to be sensitive about certain issues.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that's it. That's all you had to do. Right?
I'm going to write and tell someone that I am worried that me knowing this might be damaging.
Well, so she escalated the whole thing, saying that it would go against her conscience, which is informed by her Christian faith, to affirm a young child in their gender dysphoria. She was then suspended as a teacher. And this is where it starts to get really problematic. Okay, so it was bad, right? This is bad, right? Now it gets really bad. She started accessing the child's, it's called a CPOMS system. It's the Child Protection Online Management System. She started accessing, didn't realize the school could track this, started accessing this child's file.
Yeah.
And turns out, because she decided to sue for having been fired, right? Saying that it was an improper firing or whatever. She then outed herself as having violated strict privacy laws.
Right.
Because not only was she not supposed to access the system unless she's supposed to be accessing it. Like, you just don't look random people up. If you need to, fine.
Yeah. If you're dealing with this child and you need to understand what programs are in place for this child
not in her class at this point. Right. Yeah. And then she copied and saved onto her own computer.
Oh dear.
Parts of this child's file. And this is just
so that she could report the child to
stuff.
Jesus.
Well, as part of her suit to hey, blah, 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 blah. Well, so this is the real awful violation, is that she just wouldn't let the fucking thing go. She's now just gross violation of this child's privacy. This is why the child's being referred to as X.
Yeah.
Because the judge said, in short, wait, let's see. Anyway, I don't have that right in front of me, but basically saying this is vital to this child's privacy, right? Because this does, and also this order that this person is only known as child X in anything in these court proceedings, that this is locked. This is permanent, right? Because this person has a right to live the rest of their life without any of this being known, right? Unless they want to let it out, right?
Because it's so obvious that if this information got out, that kid's family would be harassed
quite
mercilessly
by dumb fuck Christians like this,
by assholes, forever. Because what would happen is fucking, what's his name? InfoWars guy would say, would mention it once on his show, and then it would just be, it would just be over. They would have to move to Canada, and that wouldn't be enough.
Well, I mean, this is in the UK, but I guess they could move to Canada.
Yeah, whatever.
Well. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know why I had some thing in my head right there that people from the UK it didn't make sense for them to move to Canada to escape whatever's going on. Anyway, so anyway, now let's come up to today. And this is the story that I wanted to share, and it's just she's lost her discrimination case.
Good.
The courts have just continued to side with this child and the family's right to privacy, and on the side of the school for having handled the situation correctly. And this dumb fuck Christian teacher has lost any kind of religious discrimination case. So that's good. Some countries are doing it right. Some countries have figured this shit out. We'll see if we ever can.
Every now and then something good happens in the world. It's usually followed by something bad to negate it, and at least in our country, but every now and then.
Yeah.
For example, I'll take that as my segue moment. One of the good things that has happened in our country that will probably get ruined in some way, but it has happened, is that the tiny state of Delaware, as you're well aware, I don't know why I wanted to do that, but there it is. Has enacted a law that State Representative Paul S. Baumbach has been working on. I don't even know. Oh no, wait. Former state. Yeah, I think he's no longer a rep, but he had been working on this since 2012. It is a bill, HB 140, or was the first attempt. But what they've done is they've passed a bill for death with dignity.
Oh, nice.
I was stumbling all over it, so it's like
yeah. Okay, great.
So yeah, apparently they, and there are safeguards in place, and by safeguards I mean things that are minorly annoying, like for instance, you have to have I think you have to have 2 doctors sign off on it, and you
don't want any doctor deaths coming through.
And doctors have to be allowed to have moral objection opt-outs.
Okay.
Sure. They have waiting periods, which and also you have to only have 6 months to live, I think, or something like that. No. I mean, it's a start, right?
Yeah.
But I just think it's for those of you who don't know, this is the kind of law that allows people to have medically assisted suicide.
Right.
Because a lot of people are suffering a great deal and have zero quality of life and no hope for a better quality of life.
Yeah. Well, and I think about people who are they face some maybe not even immediately life-threatening disease or condition, right?
Yeah.
That is going to just cause their quality of life to plummet in a way that they don't want. They don't want to live through that, right? You want to live through the final stages of ALS, right? Fine. But someone should have the right to say, you know what? I'm done. I'm
tapping
This is not how I want to live. I don't like being a burden on my family. And I want to be in control of this moment, right?
Yeah.
Because it may also be the last moment I have control over my situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody facing the decline of Alzheimer's should probably have it. There's a lot of things that aren't within that 6-month window.
Agreed.
And it's our life. We should have a right to it,
100%. And no one can stop you from.
I'm all about the right to life, Dan.
Doing the thing. Yes, that's been your big rallying cry your whole life. Yeah, anyway, as limited as this law is, at least it's there. And that's a good thing. So I thought, I think Oregon might have a similar law in place.
There's actually a handful of states now that have it. Yeah. Some kind of law. Some of them are pretty limited, but yeah.
But yes,
I just want the Swiss death chamber thing, right? Where you just get in a little pod, push a button, and boop.
and you're done.
Yeah, that's the one I want. I don't think it's real yet. I don't think they actually like built it, but there was that company that proposed it.
I want, if we're going to be making people who want death with dignity jump through hoops, let's make them actually jump through hoops. Let's do an American Ninja course where you've got to actually, like, you've got like an obstacle course where you have to like climb over the thing and scurry under another thing. And if you can get, and then if at the very end you finally hit the button and it just chops your head off.
Or the last hoop is a cliff.
Right.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm very, apparently, I think 10 states
okay.
Well, now 11.
Okay.
Great. Have end of life laws.
That's all right. Good. Do you remember like when Dr. Kevorkian, like this was first becoming a thing and the hysteria in this country over this issue?
They demonized that man. This guy was he saw suffering and was like, we know how to fix this.
Yeah.
And the religious right were just flipped out.
I know.
In the most absurd way and demonized him
we give
to his dying day.
We give our pets better deaths than we give our grandparents. Right. Like it's disturbing.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, that's good news. Anyway, if you would like to chime in about this or any of the things that we've talked about, feel free to write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. We'd love to hear from you. The telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around. There's more show coming up, Dan.
Well, Frank,
Dan,
we've had some missives from afar.
Ooh,
that we should attend to. Some lovely people writing into us. Hannah writes in to say, "Hi, Frank and Dan, longtime listener, haven't missed a show. Big fan."
Wow,
that's
is
your
being
misfortune.
a big fan.
That's not our problem. Don't blame us for that. Hannah says, "My new job requires somewhat frequent travel to Utah. I just wanted to let you know that I am listening to your newest episode in a public park in Provo without headphones."
Whoa!
It feels like a rebellious thing to do around here.
Oh my
Thanks
God.
for all the laughs.
Yeah.
That is a rebellious thing to do.
Huh. Good for you.
You should have gone to BYU's campus and done it there.
Oh, that would not have gone over.
Don't do that.
No.
Although, like, if you have to go to Provo a lot, maybe do at some point take a walk through BYU's campus and just feel the Stepford vibes there. It is
totally worth it. Yeah.
It's a weird place.
Highly recommend. Don't spend too much time, but
they have a nice little art museum that's actually
you can go get some caffeine-free Diet Coke.
It's not an art museum. It's a natural. Anyway, yeah, you can
caffeine-free Coke.
A lot of sugar. Sugar will be vastly available to you, but not coffee.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Randy wrote into us to say, "I just started listening to you guys." Oh, it's like the opposite of Hannah. Just started listening to you guys, but I really appreciate the show.
Nice.
You mentioned that the show is popular with Mormons. I have a theory for that. Okay. I met some Mormons that I think they don't really believe, but they go along with it because they like the community and don't want to piss off their parents, etc. There's a guy I know who lost his job, and the Mormon church took care of him, gave him money, etc., until he got a new job. I think he might believe because he feels he owes it to them and his parents, etc. You're not wrong. There are plenty of people, I think, in all pews, not just Mormon pews, but plenty of people in the pews, but very much in Mormonism also, who are just there for whatever various reasons, but definitely not exclusively because they actually believe the bullshit that's going on around them.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Julia wrote in to say, "I just heard the comment about heavy metal and mosh pits. And I had to finally write in because I'm also one of your heavy metal loving listeners. I found my calling to fan the flames of satanic panic through heavy metal in my early teens, much to the horror of my parents and tiny town Methodist church.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when I attended wearing heavy black eyeliner and Hot Topic pants.
Oh,
Skun-dun-dun.
Terrifying.
Hashtag cringe. Hashtag no regrets. That's cute. I've often wondered, did either of you go through any metal or rock music phase as a rebellion against religion? Or any religious rebellion during your teens?
Yeah. I don't know. How hard is Sixpence None the Richer? 'Cause
do the Cranberries count?
I mean, that zombie song is pretty. She's kind of screaming a little in it. So
it's about zombies, for crying out loud. Yeah, I went through a small light metal phase. I was into Metallica and sort of similar bands to that. And, listened to, at that time, K-Bear 101 in Salt Lake. But it wasn't as a rebellion against religion. My parents weren't upset about it. Nobody cared for me.
And poor Dan just wanted a reaction and everybody just shrugged.
No, I wasn't going for a reaction. I had other things that
okay.
I wasn't even, none of my shit was, about rebellion. That's just not who I was then. Yeah. I was definitely... I don't know. I want to say iconoclastic or something.
Okay.
But it certainly wasn't really. I mean, I spent my teens really trying to be a good religious boy. I didn't do a good job of it, but I was doing the opposite. I was trying to be religious. So.
Yeah, your rebellious phase really didn't happen until your mid 40s, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's about to happen any minute now. What about you? You didn't. I don't sense any rebellion in you whatsoever.
Yeah, I was trying so hard. It was in retrospect. It was. I mean, I had no choice. It was just the world that this person was going to try desperately to fit into, and to no avail.
Oh my God!
To no
I would
avail.
pay anything to meet Sliding Doors alternate universe goth/metal Frank.
I don't know what would have had to happen, right? I don't know what trigger would have had to take place for that to happen. It definitely would not have. I could not have gone to BYU in that.
Oh no!
In that universe.
That Frank wouldn't have even gone on the mission. You wouldn't have done any of those things.
Oh, I think that Frank could have gone on the mission.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but had a little some of the seeds that were sort of starting to get, planted while considering religion on a fucking daily basis. That if there had been the right trigger, maybe it could have happened then.
Fascinating.
Where after the mission and I didn't go to BYU, I maybe would have just been fuck everything,
Yeah.
But no, I went to BYU and just kept trying so
until
hard.
You stopped. Until you finally stopped.
Yeah. And then I came out to a few friends and for whatever reason grew a goatee. That's about as far as it went. And
it were the 90s after all.
Yep.
Yeah. We all did it. Let's be fair. Some of the women grew goatees. It was just it was a time of goatees. All right. And finally, an anonymous listener wrote in to say, hope all is well. So based on UK statistics about non-believers/affiliated, I figured I'd share this with you. I'm going for my UK citizenship. And for the swearing in, they will have me choose between an oath of allegiance and an affirmation of allegiance.
Oh.
I attached them to see the difference. And the oath of allegiance is, and I think you should have to do it in your best British accent, in your best received pronunciation royalty accent. I, the undersigned, swear by Almighty God that on becoming a British citizen, I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, his heirs and successors, according to the law.
And the
as
other
opposed
one?
to
Yeah,
the
okay.
affirmation, which is, I, the undersigned, do solemnly, sincerely, and truly declare and affirm that on becoming a British citizen, I will be faithful and bear allegiance to it, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Wow, that is so many adverbs. Why must a non-believer be solemn, sincere, and true?
They need...
And why must they both declare and affirm? Is one of those not sufficient?
They just don't fully trust us.
They do not.
They need some extra words, Dan, to pin us in.
If we just say affirm, do we really have them? Can they skirt by on that, or they must declare and affirm? But how must they declare and affirm? Solemnly? I think sincerely. Ooh, truly. Well, let's do all three.
Well, and also, like, why say you're declaring when that's obviously what you're doing?
Right?
You were in the act of declaring something.
Yes. You have to written for me a declaration. I don't need to say I'm declaring. All right. Well, that's that. Do we have anyone to thank?
We do, Dan. We have a couple of new patrons over on Patreon.
Oh, thank God.
We have a new teacher by the name of Beverly.
Wonderful.
And we have a new priest by the name of Brian. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much
to the both of you. If you'd like to join these kind folk in supporting the show, please go to our website, thankgodimatheist.com/donate. And there you'll find options to support us on Patreon or on PayPal. There are choices to be made. And as always, Dan, we have our top donor to thank, our Lord and Savior, Davis.
More show coming up. Frank,
Dan,
we said it at the beginning of the show. The boys are not all right.
No, but Dan, there are ways.
Did you just call me Butt Dan?
But you are Butt Dan from now on. There are ways, Dan, to achieve, quote, absurd levels of manliness. It can be yours, right?
Oh my God.
Like, you can join our ranks, Dan, of the absurdly manly.
Lest, listener, you believe that we are talking about some dude bro podcast that is just, out there to make young incels feel more insecure about themselves. You're correct. But this one happens to be a dude bro podcast by a Russian Orthodox priest.
Yeah, by the name of Father Moses McPherson.
Oh my God, Father Moses. This dude clearly spends more time in the gym than he does actually contemplating theology of any kind.
No, but Dan, that is a feature of what he's doing here.
Yeah.
Right. He
has seen growth because of it. He has seen wild successes that he couldn't have dreamt of just a few years ago.
Oh yeah. His church is growing, and
his church is growing. In
baptizing.
The last 6 months, they've got 75 new baptisms.
Indeed.
In his little Church of the Mother of God in Austin, or north of Austin, Texas. Yeah. But here's the thing. We watched, you had me watch a video that this guy made.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And this is where I got the absurd levels of manliness line, was from this video.
Because he himself states at the beginning of the video, if you want absurd levels of manliness, I'm going to tell you how to get it. He uses the phrase absurd. He doesn't even like, he is completely unbothered by the fact that he is promoting the concept of absurd levels of manliness.
Subtlety is lost on this guy, and subtlety would be lost on the people that he's trying to reach, right? Like, he might as well just come out and say it, right? Like, he's specifically targeting young men who are insecure in their masculinity.
Yeah.
Right. And this video he off to the side, there's like this, one of those temperature chart things, right? Where like at the bottom it's like green and at the top it's red, and it like,
and in this case red is supposed to be good. I don't know why he's done it this way.
Well, it's the most intense, right?
Oh, right, because that's manly.
So I've seen this exact same setup for other things online. It's very Reddit. I see this on Reddit a lot.
Okay.
But anyway, so at the bottom is like, you're just like a piece of shit, weak boy living, and it says in your mom's basement, right? Is sort of the category.
Yeah.
And then next up is I have a Timothée Chalamet mustache, right? In the middle is I got my first tribal tattoo.
Right. And each of these categories is meant to be ratcheting up one notch of masculinity.
Correct. Yeah. And then you have lumberjack, and then you have Saint Maxing.
I think it needs to be pronounced Maxing because there's two X's.
Well, he's playing off of looks maxing, right?
Yeah.
Which is a trend for a lot of young men online.
And ironically, he talks about looks maxing, and that's in that's as far away from Saint Maxing as you can get.
Yeah, totally.
Grooming oneself to look good, that's as unmanly. By the way, friends, if you look this up, I promise you, as you watch this, he will go through a series of different things, different concepts that he is going to rank on his manliness scale. Mm-hmm. You do not know where he's going to put them. Each one comes up and it is a crapshoot.
Yeah, well,
where this guy is going to put them.
It's pretty clear that crossed legs is a bad thing, right? Like, we all know that, right? But that's a weak feminine thing, is to cross your legs.
To cross your legs.
Like, that didn't surprise me.
Right.
But watching sports did.
Watching sports ends up on the very bottom of the thing.
Yeah.
He's like, it's fine if you want to, get together with friends and watch the Super Bowl, but if you're obsessing over blah, 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 and you're part of like online groups where you're messaging each other about the choice the coach made or whatever, then that's not very manly at all. That's completely unmasculine.
That makes my head is spinning. Like, one of the most stereotypical just guy things to do, right, is to follow your team, and like it's wild that he would put that so low. Also, on the very bottom rung is gaming.
Yeah. He is literally trying to take the joy away from every one of his viewers.
Yeah.
He is like, it is amazing.
But
when Soup came up, I almost died. I might have done a spit take. I'm not sure. He literally, he's going through his video and suddenly he just goes, soup. And I was like, what? Really? You're going to have a problem with soup?
Anyway, not to get...
He was like, if it's stew, you're fine. If there are big chunks of meat, you're okay. But soup, don't be a pansy.
Let's not get too stuck in this, but like just quick rattling off of like things he clearly doesn't like. He thinks skinny jeans are totally feminine for men.
Which by the way, his justification, in his mind, the only reason anyone's wearing skinny jeans is to try and maximize the look of their thighs, because in his mind, he mentions big, like, muscular thighs a lot in this video.
He likes muscular thighs.
He does.
I mean,
There is an alarming amount of homoeroticism in this video.
Yeah. Anyway, things that he does, like he says like large families and community guy, whatever that is. He likes fanny packs. He thinks that's like on the lumberjack level of masculinity.
Which is amazing, because the way that he says it is, you got to be real secure with your masculinity if you're going to be sporting a fanny pack.
Wouldn't you have
if
to be?
You're secure with your masculinity, guess what? You can eat soup. If you're secure, none of these are a problem. You can just do whatever the fuck you want to do, whatever brings you joy.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about what anybody thinks, how masculine anyone else thinks that you are.
I mean, this guy is just promoting one of the most fragile versions of masculinity you could possibly imagine.
And that's the problem, is that the masculinity crowd, like masculinity is a huge deal right now in the sort of sad young people universe.
Yeah.
And the things, like, all they do is promote and enforce and reinforce and protect fragility.
Yeah.
It is just the most, like, I can't think of anything less manly than the amount of fragility that these guys display proudly.
Than being concerned about eating soup.
Right?
Like, these guys, how weak are you that you just can't like do something? Like, we're not talking about like, the soup thing just blows my fucking mind, right? Like, like this is not like, you know,
that's just,
I don't know, like
that's
the
just
looks
because you're a
maxing
mamby-pamby soup guy.
The looks maxing, it's like being obsessed with your, like, you know, like, because a lot of the looks maxing, they're like maybe doing a little bit of like some eyeliner or something, right? Like,
or just trimming your eyebrows,
trimming that kind of detailed grooming, right? Yeah. That doesn't surprise me that they would shit on that. But soup, like the things that you could eat, right? Having a mustache, right?
Right.
Like, you are so insecure. Yeah. But that's so perfect for them, right? Because they need to find the people who are off kilter, who are off balance in the world right now. That's what religion preys on, right?
100%
is people's uncertainty, right? Because religion gives them certainty. He's giving them specific rules. This is how you be a man, right?
Yeah.
You come, look at me, I work out, right? And like the article about this, like they talk to a guy who goes and works out with them, with this priest or whatever, right? And this kid's name is Theodore. And
Theodore.
He believes that this, I thought this was really, I mean, this is really telling. This is the moment, right? He believes society has been very harsh on men and is constantly telling them they are in the wrong. He complains that men are criticized for wanting to be the breadwinner and support a stay-at-home wife, right?
Right.
We are
AKA criticized for wanting to own women.
Right. Right.
And be in charge of what they can do.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with one partner being the one who works and has a living, right?
Not
and the
at
other
all.
person, especially if they have kids, being the caretaker. There's no problem in that at all, right?
Not at all.
It's the rigidity of this worldview that it is the man who goes out and the woman who stays home, right? That those are the right roles, right?
And it betrays what's really going on here, which is that these men are seeing an institution that propped them up and gave them an inflated power in society that they didn't earn, and that was just granted to them based on, you know, what was hanging between their legs when they were born.
Right.
And they're seeing that going. That's disappearing. And so now they are, you know, they have been taken down a few pegs that they didn't earn, pegs that they shouldn't have. and they're reacting against it.
Yeah.
They don't want to lose power that they just automatically were granted before.
Yeah.
That their fathers were granted and their grandfathers were granted.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think I really am thinking a lot about just sort of the structure, right? That when there is a transition, right, in society, right, things can feel a little unhinged, especially for the people that you just described, right? That things just have sort of lost, they don't quite know their place, right? And I would say that this is part of the failing on the left and the progressive movement, right? Is that while clearly opening up avenues of progress for formerly disenfranchised groups, let's say, right? There has been a resistance to talking about what is going on with white men. That has been nobody's concern. And in fact, it's been so out of vogue, right, as to be laughable and ridiculous. Right. And we're seeing that attitude come home to roost, right? Or the results of that to come home to roost. This is a reaction, right, that probably could have been foreseen, right? But nobody was thinking about it. Nobody was talking about what does it mean for the people who are being, from their perspective, right, redefined out of importance. What do we need to be telling them? We're
not offering them a soft landing anywhere.
Where is the new structure that they're going to be happy with where they're at in sort of a new system, right?
Right.
And so what religion's coming along and doing is it's, especially this guy right here, like Russian Orthodox, right? Like one of the most conservative of the Christian faiths.
Yeah.
They come along and they've got this message of strict structure, right? And this is how you become a man, right? And it's nothing new, right? So it seems familiar, it seems easy to fall back into.
And it throws back to the time that to the time when they were the enfranchised ones.
Yeah, but so Dan, we're talking about young men. They don't have that time, that same.
No,
experience.
they don't have a personal reference point to that. But they've in their minds they've built it up as those were the good times.
Yeah, totally.
And this throws back to that.
Yeah, but also interestingly enough, they have no experience with that world. Right. They people who are in their 20s and 30s now, like we remember a bit of it, right?
Yeah.
Actually quite a bit of it. But like if you're 20 years younger than we are, right? Like things changed a lot in those 20 years, right? Yeah. Attitudes about gender and men, women in society. And it's when women have really started to like really emerge into the workplace in real ways, right? Not in any token way. Being the bosses, still haven't like totally fixed the old broken patriarchal system, but incredible amounts of change.
Right.
And if you're not like this, we need to be thinking about this. And I know people are actually starting to like recognize the disparate performance in school between boys and girls, right? The girls are really exceeding in school and boys have stopped and they're lagging behind for whatever reason, right? And people are starting to look into this, like what culturally is happening in our schools where we don't have equal performance, right?
Yeah.
And why did one have to pull ahead of the other? Like what's happened, right?
And part of the problem here is that while our side of things was lagging on that and not caring about it.
Exactly.
Because they were doing the important work of enfranchising
absolutely
the disenfranchised. That is very important work. But while
I hope nothing that I said suggests otherwise.
Right. Correct. But while we were doing that important work and focusing on that, there's all the wrong people started focusing on this less enfranchised group, and this group
started seeing the opportunity,
feeling disenfranchised, and all the wrong people are the ones that they're turning to, which is why the trend that we're seeing going into, because the trend line of religion in the United States has been going down while the trend line of unaffiliated people is going up.
Yeah.
But that has slowed, and it has slowed significantly for men and not as significantly for women. So these young boys, these young men, these Gen Z kids, the males are going to church. They are turning to, like, even their dude bro gods, fucking Joe Rogan is starting to go to church now.
Yeah. Yeah. The statistics are interesting. It's the article says that a true increase in the number of converts is hard to quantify, it says, but data from the Pew Research Center suggests that Orthodox Christians are now 64% male, and that's up from 46% in 2007.
Yeah.
There was another smaller study of 773 converts that appears to sort of back this. The most recent newcomers are men, and many say that the pandemic pushed them to seek a new faith. Fuck that pandemic.
It may be controversial, but I am on record as being anti-pandemic.
It's just fucked things up in ways you never would have thought.
Right.
Right. But Father Moses tells his congregation that there are two ways of serving God. You can be a monk or a nun, or you can get married.
Yeah.
Those who get married need to avoid contraception and have as many children as possible.
Right.
So it's that.
I don't like your God, Father Monk or Father Moses or whatever. I think your God is stupid.
Oh no.
I just think here's what I think. I think eventually what's going to happen is these boys, I mean, this incel thing is happening. Because when you tell young men it would be unmanly of you to, take care of your looks other than to work out and make your muscles big. It would be unmanly of you to, to have liberal viewpoints and blah, blah, blah. Guess who's not going to be attracted to you? Look around in your church. It's 60+% men.
Yeah.
You're not going to find your partners that way, or, or at very least and they complain.
I mean, it sounds kind of
constantly.
hot to me, but that's
yes. You could, exactly. Gay boys
there's
could maybe clean
lots
up
of
there.
men who enjoy working out.
But yeah, it's if all of the people that you listen to lead to rooms full of angry young men and no women.
Yeah.
And then what you're doing is complaining that women just don't want to date men anymore, and then they start complaining. They have all these narratives about, like, women only will date guys who are 6'2" and blah blah blah. They
just look
and
around.
Blah blah blah. It's like such nonsense. Try, instead of turning yourself into an angry, roided out muscle head. Develop a personality. They like that, the ladies. Humans like people with personalities that are warm and happy and kind.
Shocking.
Yeah. But they don't like nice guys. Women all say they like nice guys, but then you're nice to them, and guess what? You weren't nice. You were playing at being nice, and they saw through it. So
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's there. There's. It's a thing. I think we just need to talk more about, like, in general, like, as a society, we need to be talking about sort of the strength that it requires to not have all the answers, right? Yeah. The strength that it requires to look into the abyss, right? And be okay with that, right? Because I mean, that's what we're offering over here, right? We don't have all the answers, right? But I think that takes a certain amount of strength to face that world and to face reality, right? And it takes strength from men. It takes strength from women, right? Like it's just this.
And we also need to start offering tools for this.
Yeah,
this is like our society has not done well at sort of dealing with the boys who are being less enfranchised, even though they're now just being equally enfranchised as other people, or less more enfranchised. But we need to help them. We need to give them tools to deal with that fact.
Yeah.
And by the same token, society, our group, atheism and the non-religious people, we need to do a way better job of crafting tools to help people when they have to stare into the abyss, when they have to like imagine life without the promise of an afterlife, and when they have to imagine a universe that doesn't have an altruistic personal God,
doesn't think they're special.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. Like what we've done so far is go, God's dumb, and left it at that. Just been like, you're stupid if you believe in that. And then you're on your own.
Yeah. No,
and
we
need to do a lot better at both of those things.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a fun message to give to all of y'all. We sure do appreciate you coming by for it. Oh, man. If you'd like to write into us about this or any of the topics we've discussed today, you can write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
To support the show, go to thankgodimatheist.com/donate and pick the way you want to give us your cash.
This episode was edited by Roger Gowdy, and music was provided by the Red Rock Hot Club and Gordon Johnston.
Hey, thanks to all y'all for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank God I'm Atheist is a production of TGIA Media, LLC, copyright 2025, all rights reserved.